Well, hello there, friends. Welcome back. This is BaritheScari. Today I'm going to be playing Ooblets, and we are going to go through the first 5 days. So, we start out by beginning our game where we are introduced with this very thought-provoking welcome sequence. So apparently we've spent all of that 2T life on the isolated Arrow Island where the people are stuffy and there aren't even any ooblets. So now our life has changed and we've decided to not be living such a 2T life. So we come in on this nice little sailboat after deciding to leave our normal life. We are very excited to see what is going to become of us on this new land. I guess they call it mainland Oob. So apparently we've heard of the mainland and what it is like and how it is odd and creative and oh so fun. And here we are, Ooblets. So, once we land, we are introduced to Mayor Tinsel. So, she just is the woman in charge, or a child, because she is extremely young. So, after a little sequence where we talk about how we don't have any, experience at all, which is very, real world, where Tinsel is fantastic about it. Which most employers were that way. She offers us a job and says that we can live in the old abandoned farmhouse, which who's not going to take advantage of that? So, next off, she wonders where our ooblets are because we are obviously missing them, which is very surprising to her, which makes sense as everybody here has ooblets surrounding them. She also brings up ooblet clubs, which is so funny. So the first task, as per most games, are introductions. So we're going through meeting everyone. So we start off with Milu. Never quite understood how to say his name. He is right up on the dock, so we talk to him. And then we have Ara, who's right by him, so we stop and quickly chat. She kind of makes fun of us as everyone seems to somehow personally dig into us a little bit. We meet Polt, who sells all the buns for energy. Fantastic dude, always bringing the energy. So, the local bumblebee, as it is called, he is very kind and gives us 10 of those bumblebee buns, which is fantastic because these things cost 40 of the currency each. Next up is mead. Talk about an interesting egg. So, right away she insults us. I think she thinks we're the Grim Reaper. I don't really know. Quite an introduction. Next up is Charles, our town's kind of germaphobe. I do a little dance at one point, because the oobs don't get to do all the dance moves. We get some as well, which is so funny to me. Just having a good time. Next up is Ragnolia. She is the researcher in this town. She is very useful. She gives us our little booklet that we use to reference for everything, so we can change our clothing here. Here's a little preview of that. We can see what oobs of the day there are, see what tinsel tasks there are. Next up is Taffy. Apparently Taffy was the previous mayor. I can kind of see why they're no longer the mayor. Next up is Double, the bean juice barista of the town, which is always great. After we meet everyone, or at least 8 of the townsfolk, Tinsel brings us back in and we get to choose the club. So The town is made up of 4 clubs. There's the From Buns, which is just very cute and delightful. If you start there, you start out with Tud or Tood, I don't know. Next up are the Peak Snubs, where you would start out with Bittle. They're kind of very bossy. Next up, we have the Mimpims, and you would start with Side Key. So Vidian's the head of this, just kind of more nerdy, but very cool. I honestly would not have minded being in this one because I think that Ooblets really neat. And then last but not least, there are the Moss Sprouts, where you start out with Shrumbo, and right away I just could not say no. It's also a very outdoorsy group. Outgrid's in charge of them, and I just saw this and it won my heart. So I joined the Moss Sprouts. Just very exciting, and I was so excited to get my first ooblet. Oh my goodness, they are adorable. So, after we get our first ooblet, we are put into the first dance battle. So that is how you collect your ooblets in this game. It is turn-based. You use cards. You have a certain amount of beats per turn, and you use those beats on those cards. You have to earn a certain amount of points in order to win that dance. Each of the ooblets has a signature move, so my little mushroom friend has the signature move of Shake It, which is 6 whole points, which is really great for only 2 points, or 2 beats, I mean, sorry. You could also pick 3 for whole 7 points, which I ended up choosing in this situation just because if I had chosen 2, I didn't have another choice, and the cards refresh after each round. So here I let the other ooblet go ahead and they play their cards, fast forwarding to the end. Usually you know, end it off after a battle. As you move along, the dances start to get a little bit more tough. You need more points depending on more ooblets. And at the end of each dance battle, you can choose to get a seed from that ooblet. So here we get our seed from the lump stump, which then we can use to grow that ooblet and have another ooblet friend to go around with us and do more dance battles. So after that, we're back to Tinsel, who is now telling us that we have to head to the farmhouse. So I walked around for a while and eventually made my way over, which now we meet up with Tinsel and meet at the old farmhouse. It's a little bit broken down. Tinsel just yells out, "House!" I fast forwarded through this whole process because it's kind of that usual, you know, it's very run down. Here are the seeds. Here are basic necessities to get started. Also, mead. I'm really not quite sure what she's gotten up to in her life, and she says not to question too much, so we're not going to question too much. So here I start out the farming to test out this. This is a bit clunky, not my favorite feature, but it works out just fine. After we've set up the plots, Mead brings us back in to fill up our watering can, shows us where to go for that. And we get that taken care of, fast forwarded a bit. And they're just wrapping up, you know, telling us the usual, you have to water every day, take care of those plants. Further down the line, your ooblets can actually take care of your plants for you, which is very useful, and I'm definitely excited to see what that looks like. Before going to bed, I check the mail, which we are given a spooky letter from the unknown. So they write a nice little, I guess, poem for us, just to give us an update on what's going on. Then Ara sends us a letter about the Halloween event going on, which was very nice. I didn't realize at the time that she legit spells everything out for us, and of course, me being me, I kind of glanced through some of this stuff and then I was left confused. I'm going through it kind of slowly, so if you want to read what's going on, you can. But basically, you need to pick up a pail to go get candy. You need to get these dowsing twisty licorice sticks to uh, kind of a hot and cold situation where they'll beep when you get closer to where this skelly bits are, and then you can dig them up and you use all of the candy, skelly bits, and other needed items to make potions. After that, I head inside. I check out the little stove. I obviously cannot cook anything yet, but I took a look at what that could possibly look like and what ingredients were needed. I then check out the old luggage, which only has 6 spots, but always useful as we kind of have a small inventory by this point. And by that point, we end day 1 and head to sleep. So at this point, we are on day 2. We head out. There's no mail, but we are right away told to water plants. At this point, I also decide, or I learned, that you can rename your ooblets. So I had the other Minecrafters help me, and we named them Shroomy. So very simple but cute name. Then I quickly fast forwarded. It went through the instructions of how the time works in the day and watering those plants again. I headed to town. I checked out the maps. I really like how you can see where everybody is on the map. It makes it really helpful. You can also use it to tell you where specific ooblets are, which is really fantastic. Next up, I head to, I think it's Kitty Bon. Oh my goodness, the local clothing store where Charles works. I immediately see the shirt and jacket that I'm wearing currently. Um, I then headed to Minotwi, or the furniture store, and I check that out. I see that we cannot use the computer for anything. The small door, I'm sure that's just for Ooblet use. I then checked out the fabric cutter, which you can use to craft items to put on your housing plot, which is very useful in the long run. And definitely you should keep track of items that you have for that. I then checked out the Ooblet replacement box as it had been glowing. I assume that's going to be important in the long run. I then ran around and spoke to some of the townsfolk who have quite deep items to say. Uh, they're all quite right, of course. Ernsta just had to get it too true about that. I then chatted with Outgrid for the first time just to meet her. Also, Officer Zuffel, who I think may be the only adult in this town. Actually, I lie, because we also have Arvin, who's always just kind of stabbing the ground there, even if there are not cans. I then proceeded to pick up a mystery can for the first time. So this is a task, I believe, that is done every day. I'm trying to remember now. I believe it's every day. I then headed over to the local barber shop where Patrick is the barber. Um, and we do our introductions. I check out the different hairstyles that you could get your hair changed to. I'm poor at this moment and have 0 gummies, so I can't do anything there. I then headed out and I noticed this little cardboard box station that Tinsel had set up. When I walked up, it had a task for me, one of the Tinsel tasks. So I chatted with Tinsel to see what's up. Basically, she let me know that there is a Clicky Claws Ooblet in the town hall that won't let her get inside anymore as it will bite her ankles. So it is time that we need to beat them in a dance battle to help her out and get her back in that town hall. Um, so she tells us you just have to enter and you'll right away begin that battle. So we go ahead and enter to see what is ahead of us. So, of course, we have to challenge Clicky Claws. What a cutie patootie. Look at those little stick legs and arms. I love them so much. So, right away, our dance battle begins with Shroomy, our wonderful little ooblet. So, I fast forwarded, we went through all the same, using the cards, get those points, use those beats per turn. We then got the Clicky Claws seed from our fellow Ooblet friends, and Tinsel thanked us for finally getting rid of the Clicky Claws so that she can enjoy her office once more. So just looking around, you can see that there are more things to do in the town hall. So she said that she's introducing us to the tinsel tasks, which we can go to that board for. So you can see this contains stuff like repair the old farmhouse on it, and it also has reconstitute all of the mystery cans. So this kind of gives us things to be working on as we go along. So obviously, as she said, we start on the simpler ones, as she makes fun of our house, which of course, it is indeed an eyesore. So she just tells us she'll be hanging out in the office if we ever need her, which is very kind. So we have done another one of the tinsel tasks, which is always a good time to cross that off. We check out this big statue, which is the Ooblet High Council. It's a very nice statue. I wonder if it will change at all, or if that's what it also looks like. You can also see that you need to donate items to the museum at this point. I ended up learning that you need to get statues of your Ooblets to donate. Once we exit, I realized it is now officially the Halloween event. So the town hall's looking like a monster, Arvin's looking like a scarecrow, we got Charles looking like a burger. Currently we have a bat, we have a journal piece that we find on the stairs when walking along, as you will find different notes as you go along. I also pick up a candy pail, as in the center of town then you have the whole Halloween event station. I'm not quite sure what to do with it at this point because I don't realize that it is in my clothing area. So I check out to see this is what the potion station looks like, and what all you need to donate each time in order to make. So I thought you literally made a potion, but you would create that potion and get something. Eventually I found where my little candy pail was, so I used that and walked around to try and get candy from fellow town members. We have Taffy, who does not want to assist us. For some odd reason, you have to wait till the next day in order to start that. I check out the reconstitutor at that point, and then I am brought to a little side clip with Vidian, who right away goes after our intelligence. Not sure why we would like that, but apparently he has valid reasons to say that. Not quite sure who's done that, but okay. Alright. Anyhow, he goes on to explain that you put items like the cans, or other kind of junk items or things you don't need, you can put those into the reconstitutor, and they give you sea dangle bait. Now, if you don't know what sea dangling is, it is basically fishing. So here you can see we run over full speed to the sea dangling spot. Right away he gives us some bait to try out for this. It tells us by using the basic bait you can, catch kind of simple items. So this is a very simple task in this game. You just go up, click it, pick the bait that you want. After that point, you don't have to interact with it at all. It just catches the item for you, pulls something up. So this time I got a meltalizer. I then head back to the reconstitutor and I add in some of the mystery cans. So you can add up to, I believe it's 12 items at once. And then you kind of have to let it load for a couple seconds to add in the rest. Based off of that, we finished another tinsel task, and then we proceeded to run around town to try and get some candy. So we get our first official candy through Mead. Thank goodness, who she is cutely dressed up as a flower. We also proceed to sell some Sporbits or Sporbays, not quite sure how to say that, to get our first official gummies. Only 3, but it's a start. We then see Tinsels dressed up as an adorable pumpkin, and then proceed to see how cute the windows are looking in the town. We then head to bed for day number 3. So here we are going to sleep. It's kind of late. I stayed up. At the end of each day, you also receive a summary that tells you an overlook at XP earned from items sold, Ooblets received, all that jazz. So, day 3 has arrived. We wake up a little bit groggy due to staying up a little later than the game would like us to. We are also introduced to collecting wishes through the daily tasks, so you can complete the daily goal to get wishes, earning badges, tinsel tasks, winning the dance battles. We also see the 4 items that we can currently buy with those wishes. It starts out kind of basic, and as you level up, you get more options. So we also check the mail right away in the morning as we see it. Melda's telling us to only grow so many of the ooblets because we only start out with so much space, which is definitely true. Charles then tells us about the fanny pack that he has in stock, which I definitely want. So thanks, Charles. We then water our plants as normal, and I realized that we can pick the lump stump that we had planted yesterday. So welcome to the family, little lump stump. I also take this time to plant the clicky claws seed that we had received from yesterday. I did not do it last night because it had been so late in the game by that point, and I wasn't sure if there's a certain point where you pass out. I then proceed to go ahead and name our lump stump. So we are remaining kind of boring. We call him Woody. So we have Woody and we have Shroomy. I might be 5 years old. Not really sure. We then go ahead and get some, go talk to some of the townsfolks. We chat with Sprin, who definitely likes Bazil. She also talks a little bit about Tinsel and how she's a good mare. We also check out the Oobnet replacement box has a message in it that talks about outrageous prices at Cuddle Cups. After that, I see the cans on the ground, so I pick those up as I do daily, as it is important to pick those up, and normally it can be linked to a daily task. Not always, but sometimes. I then put those right away into the machine so that they can be processed and we can get bait. We earn wishes from that. Always wonderful. We are saving up. So next up, I head to Cuddle Cups Cafe. This appears to be the first time, which I did not realize. So we have a nice little scenic introduction. Very cute. Everybody's having such a good time. The coffee's on the pricier side, and I also find a payment due notice, which talk about a lot of payments, and I thought my car payments were bad. But also, what are the calculations there? After that, I head to the Learnery, where we chat with Ragnolia And then I find a note about the mystery can migration, wondering what's going on with those, where they're coming from. Badgetown, really, we just don't know. But as long as I can use them for the reconstitutor, that's a-okay. I then go ahead and I use the scanning machine. Let's just see. Yes, Ooblet Research Scanner for Ragnolia's project, which is definitely useful for everybody. She then goes into her little spiel about everything and then asks if I have any new ooblets. Of course I do. I have the 2 specimens that I had gotten in my past 2 days. So Shroomi's the first one up, being an adorable little guy and getting his scan done so nicely. We then go ahead and scan Woody a while as he stares dead straight ahead, just not sure what's going on in that head of his. For each of these, we do get gummies, so it's 50 gummies per ooblet, which wonderful. Based off of that, we've completed another tinsel task. So after completing the tinsel task, we go take a look around town for a bit. We find a recipe piece, which we use to eventually get a recipe. We then look in this little chest and find some obsidian. In the little ooblet door, there's one karut seed. On the wall, we have a majestic beast, Coco, of course. Heck yeah, I'm thinking that has to be someone's cat in real life, and I love Coco. We check around, check some drawers, and then we are told that there is a badge incoming. So I see Tinsel's little ooblet dude running around, and I definitely got confused because nothing happened for quite a bit, and then eventually it caught up to us, and then we earned our first badge, which Tinsel tells us that hopefully we will earn a lot more. So here's our first badge. Look at 10 Thingnadoodies, and then we earn more wishy points. Always good. We definitely need those. So then I continue looking around. I head into Aura's house, where I proceed to talk to her, wish her a happy Halloween. She is the queen of Halloween, giving us 8 candies. So definitely have to hit her up every day. We also receive a potion. Okay, Aura. Okay, I feel you would very much be into Twilight. And that is a-okay. We would definitely be friends in real life. I then proceed to clean up the yard just a tiny bit, getting some nernies and planklets, which are definitely very useful. All of this stuff in the yard also seems to build up pretty fast, but maybe I'm just really bad at cleaning all of this. But I'm trying to make sure it stays away from my plants. I then go ahead and donate some of those into the repair kit towards the house, as we definitely need to get that taken care of. And that is when we head to bed on the 3rd day, which we head to bed before we're drowsy, so that's great. So we have, once again, our daily summary. We found a lot of things today, so we got lots of XP there. And that starts us off on day 4. So once again, right away, I check the mailbox. Cephal is oh so very nice and tells us about how you can eat certain things for energy. And then we also get a message from Mead, who tells us about Sweetie Grow and also gives us one to test out. Thank you, Mead. Patrick also sent us a letter, which it's a-okay, bud. I understand it. And he brought me a cupcake. He's so very nice, even if he could not hand it directly to me. I appreciate a cupcake anytime. I go ahead and I clear a little bit more so that I can get more of the building items and also just to clear those up. So I go ahead and I put the rest of the planklets in there. All I need are clothlets left, which at this point are kind of difficult to find as you find them randomly. I then head to Mead's store and go ahead and buy some seeds. Um, I feel like I could definitely have started out a little better with getting these, but I also did not start out with a lot of money. After Mead's store, I head to Charles' clothing store and I proceed to find a receipt on the ground. I mean, air purifier definitely checks out for something that Charles would buy, but 300 gummies seems like a steep price. I don't know, maybe that's just me. I then proceed to finally, well, first off, I buy the Skelly Bit skewer recipe so that I can make those. And then I proceed to finally buy the Dowsing Twisty Licorice Sticks, which I wish I would have gotten these a little bit earlier, but that's okay. I then find a note in the Central Park area from Operative. Not really sure who's in charge of writing these out. Still need to figure that out because I know a couple people hang out in the center. I then find the little stash of cans and I pick those up. There are not that many there today, so just a few to put in the reconstitutor. You can check out Taffy back there in their mime costume. What a cutie. So I put those all in there, and then I proceed to go ahead and do a dance battle with this cute little flea bowl. I just could not. So Shroomy, Woody, and I head into our next dance battle. So once again, I kind of speed through this because the dance battles get kind of repetitive as you're just clicking cards and following most of the same kind of patterns. Most of the new items are when you have a new Ooblet who has a new signature dance move. So we go ahead and we beat the Fleeble with the cutest little witch hat. And Shroomy levels up and is now level 2. I don't know what I expected here to be like a Pokemon and to be the next evolution. We then proceed to get the Fleeble seed so that we can go ahead and plant that when we get back. So upon our return to the house, I see that our Clicky Claus is ready to go, so I pick that. Look at their adorable dance moves. I love them so much. Oh my goodness. We then go ahead and plant all of the seeds that we had just gotten, including the Fleeble. And then I did not realize I fertilized it and that sped it up so that I could pick it right away. And here's our little new Fleeble. So 2 Ooblets in kind of a short amount of time, which I am a-okay with that, especially with this little one's short arms. So I then proceeded to go ahead and name the new Ooblets. So our Fleeble's name is Rexy because of the short little arms. How could I not? And then our Clicky Claus, of course, I was going to name it Kitty because he's a grumpy little kitty. How could I not? With the coolest little dance moves. So now I also realized that they're basically Rexy, Woody, Shroomy, Kitty, all the E's. I don't know what was going on there. It's okay. So I then proceeded to earn some wishies because I had completed one of the daily tasks. So here we go, some more wishes. And we are also notified of a badge incoming. So we go ahead and first off, look at us exhausted. So here we go, second badge. Tinsel's so funny, I'd better start sewing some more. So we have received the farming badge for planting 15 seeds. So wonderful. then I go ahead, I look at the wishes and what I can buy with it. I end up buying the basic sprinkler blueprint, not realizing that it said blueprint and I expected to get it. I then see that right away we could buy the, well, not to buy, but we'd have the option to get the medium blueprint, but what to save up. I then had to craft the sprinkler, but realized that I need some rain plops, which we do not have at this point. So I have to go empty-handed and continue to water my flowers. Also, guys, just take a look at my little ooblet parade as I go along looking for skelly bits. So I was following the noise. It led me to the point where it was going off like crazy, and I was able to dig up some items. I'm not sure if I accidentally missed back there the item that was found. Not sure what happened, but here we found some of them, and we were notified right away of another badge. So we ended up getting caught up with them kind of after a little while more of exploring, and we received the third badge. So today I feel like we did a lot. So collect 60 forageables, and then we proceeded to also gain more wishes. So at this point, then I was running around town again and proceeded to find another journal page on the ground. So, poor guy. Poor guy. That's all I could say. I then proceed to check out the brewing station and I make my first potion. I was so excited. So first off, I got a golden skelly bit, which I had no idea what to do. I realized now that you could use it for that third potion, I believe, but I don't even have the flowers needed for the third potion. Um, and that was all I was able to make. I then went around and quickly collected some of the mushrooms, the spore bits, and I returned so I could make some more potions, and I received a lightsaber, which is so cool. I was so excited for this. At that point, I then headed to bed as I didn't know how to use the lightsaber. I didn't realize that it was for the ooblets, just a-okay. So this is where we ended day 4. Here's our daily summary. We leveled up to level 2. I didn't realize this at the point. It was the next day that I realized what happened. Well, I guess at this point, that's when I realized what happened. And we received new tinsel tasks. That brings us to the 5th day. So on this day, I realized how to use the accessories, and I gave Shroomy the cutest little lightsaber to use and to protect the rest of our Ooblet clan, just in case any of the dance battles get a little too wild. I also learned that you can only use each item, the number of items that you have. You can't just use it for all of them. Right away, I then checked the mail, which was telling us about the crunchster and how you can use that to make the muzz flour, fructose, and all of that, and you could craft more at the fabric cutter. So thank you, Sprint, and very nice of her. She gave us one, which is funny enough. I had crafted one the day before, which you can see is already placed down. I then saw we had another piece of mail. I checked that out. Mary Tinsel was also talking about the fabric cutter and how we could make oop coops, sprinklers, crunchers, and paths. So this is definitely an important item to use because you need all of these to place on your farm. And Tinsel was also very nice and gave us some wooden paths. So I was able to, after some figuring out how to place those paths down, which I've placed them at this point just around my plants. These paths help you walk around faster, which is nice. After setting that up, I headed to town and I noticed that we could finally go up to that machine, but then I got distracted by the clompers because I've been wanting a clomper. I think they are the cutest little things. So me and my team of 4 Ooblets went against theirs. As you can see, the number that we need is higher at this point, but we also start off with 5 beats. So you go ahead and use your tactics to try and get as many points as possible each round. I fast forwarded to the end. This one was kind of close at some points, I'm not going to lie, but in the end I was able to bring out a success because look at all of that hype I had gained, which helps to get more points per card, which is great. So we have successfully beaten the Clomper and their friends, and we've gotten a Clomper seed to use to plant a new friend. After that, I do go ahead and check out what this task is because I have no idea what we're supposed to do here. This brings us to a little cutscene where Tinsel, in her adorable pumpkin costume, explains the Plenty's bulk orders, which basically you grow more items or have more items and then you can sell it to make more money. I tested it out. You make more money bringing the orders there than you would trading it to mead. I then proceeded to pick up the cans that were right on the pathway. I reconstituted those, and then I proceeded to take the bait from the reconstitutor, and I did some sea dangling with the 2 pieces of bait I had. I proceeded to catch a wrapper, which is oh so very exciting. And I believe I had caught another piece of junk, which both of those just ended up going into the reconstitutor. I also realized at this point that I did level up, and by that it means I get more items in the wishies to trade off. I also went up to the wild lands where I learned more about what can be done here. Outgrid is the go-to for this, as she comes over and explains how something really mysterious happened and all of the Ooblets that had lived in the wild lands got freaked out and they either ran away or they're really spooked by this point. So we head to the wild lands, check it out. I water some flowers just because I realized that they were looking so down. So I used my little dribbly can and I went around the entire wildlands that's available. You unlock more as you go around. I then went back to the board, realized that the task was to water those plants in the wildland, so that was a very easy task done. And then I was told that I had to wait till tomorrow to start the next task. I then walked around again being nosy and found a recipe piece in Aura's house. I then also saw that there's a tinsel task little sign on this printy press, so I went and checked that out to see what's going on there. Aura then proceeds to come in and explain to us that she would make friendship stickers using this, but it's all messed up and she needs items to help fix it. I'm definitely intrigued by what this could possibly mean. She sets up the box outside her house and it lists what all is necessary. I added in the Sweetie Beatie as I just so happen to have that on me. And then all I need are the Spore Bits and the Nernies. I then headed to the Learnery where I saw that Aura was here as well. She asked us for some assistance as she wants to make a potion using Borges's. So we accept that task. We probably won't complete it in a while because I'm using all the mushrooms for different potions. We then proceed to scan our new Ooblets, so Kitty is up first. Once again, my Ooblets being perfect role models and waiting patiently. So I get my first 50 gummies from scanning Kitty, and then I go ahead and scan the last Ooblet we have currently, which is Rexy, who's also just adorable. We are then notified of another batch, which we actually received right away this time. Not quite sure what Tinsel was up to when writing this one, but that's a-okay. We received our fourth badge, and that is scanning 3 ooblets at the learnery. I then proceeded to go back to the station to make potions, and I threw in all the ingredients to try and get as much as possible. Going to go through the highlights. So first off, we received some spooky wallpaper, which always cute. We then received a haunted dresser. Thank goodness. We received this adorable baby magical hat for the ooblets. We received a little baby mask for the ooblets. And then we also received an antique wallpaper. So 2 different wallpapers. Just very cool. At that point, we have our little parade of adorable ooblets dressed in their little costumes at this point with what I have so far. I just love them so much. Once we get back to the house, we see that we have a piece of mail where Outgrid is just thanking us for assisting with the wild lands, which of course we're going to help with that. Why would we not? So thanks, Outgrid. I then proceed to debate whether or not I want to add in, as I have all the clothlets, so I just add those all in. It didn't auto fix it, so I figured I would just take care of that in the morning then. So that is where we ended the 5th day. So at this point, it gives us once again our daily summary, which we earned a new badge. We found a lot of things. We harvested some crops, and we sold some of the Button Boy mushrooms and earned some good gummies. So this is the point where I'm wrapping this episode up, as there is quite a bit that is going on at this point in Ooblets. So next time, I'm hoping to have that house built and to get more ooblets and to see what else can be done. Thank you so very much for joining. I'll see you next time.